First of all, these pictures are part of two series I've done in 2010 and 2012 in Lampedusa, in the island of Lampedusa in 2010, and in Zarzis in southeast part of Tunisia. I combined these two series in one wall installation where I put together a landscape from both places, Zarzis and Lampedusa, as if it was the same space, because for me my goal was to question these two specific places related to migration and to transit zone of the people inside these cities. As you can see in this installation, I'm not a photojournalist. I'm using photography as a tool to speak and to question this reality, and using different supports, different way to show photographs, from landscape to portraits to recovered photographs, as well reproductions of photographies that I didn't make myself, and creation of documents. So, for example, the postcards of Lampedusa.
These portraits are from a series called Death Reporters, and my approach to this was to take photographs of the screen, either that was a television screen or a computer screen where I was watching news. And I was really interested in the moire effect that it causes. It's this effect where you can see the structure of the screen itself. And by watching all these death reporters or just reporters on the news, it made sense to me to make a selection of portraits of the reporters themselves. But what happens with photography is, to me, very interesting, because you freeze a moment, and this moment basically reveals all the micro expressions of each reporter. Once I saw what I can do and how I can manipulate this, I started following the craziest reports of either catastrophe, like natural catastrophe, like just accidents where people were dying. And at the moment of the reporters saying the number of deaths, I took the picture, and you can see there are many expressions that someone could say they're inappropriate.
I made this work in response to the new security bill that was passed in Spain a couple of years ago, that basically is very restrictive towards freedom of expression. It's been denounced by the NU, the European Union, and loads of NGOs. And one of the key points regarding images is that it bans everyone, citizens and journalists alike, to show images or to use images of the police. Now, then, in order to comply with the law, any person or media will need to pixelate the face of the police. But then the police itself shows images of themselves when they go on parades, or when there's some events related to their activity that they do, and it's fine. Obviously, they don't fine themselves. But if anybody else would do it, that would be an infraction. What I do is just the technique that you're supposed to do in order to be able to publish these images, but to the limit. Take that to the limit, take that gesture of pixelating everything. In a way, in the one side, it just shows how ridiculous it is when you apply the law to the last consequences of it. But in the other side, also it relates to how oppressive this new law is in terms of images, when you can't show, the face of the state in a way anymore.
This project is about the Eritreans' journeys and experiences into the UK. I decided to take a conceptual approach because usually images associated with migrants, it's pitiful, and I wanted to detach myself from that. And I needed to protect their identity, so I had to blur the images, and I decided to trace the journey lines on their faces. So some journeys are quite simple, and they go from maybe Eritrea to the next border and then to take airplane. And as you go along, the journeys get more difficult. And if you can read on the bottom of the poems, it says the means how they got to the UK. So some of them, they haven't taken an aeroplane at all. So they'll be taking camels, they'll be traveling on foot, by lorry, by cars or trains or boats to get to the UK. So the journeys do vary. Some go through traffickers, some go through smugglers, some are kidnapped, some are tortured, and others had to pay ransom and had to escape from the kidnappers and traffickers.
This piece is called For Between the Light and the Darkness We Stand, in a parenthesis chaos, and it's a piece, it's part of a larger series of works that I've been working on for the last 7-8 years that is influenced and related to the financial crisis that have been taking place back in Greece since 2008. This piece is based on the cover from the French newspaper The Libération from 2001, which had the word chaos written in Greek. And what I've done, I've taken the cover and I've photocopied it multiple times until it became completely black, and I've created these gradients that takes the cover from the blackness to completely, so that it becomes completely white. So again, to signify the transformation process, the purification process that my country, Greece, has been going through the last 8 or so years. My work is very much influenced by spirituality and religion. The issues that I'm mostly dealing through my work and I want to express through my work are issues that have to do with the idea of transformation and purification in a personal level as well as in a collective level.